I hope we own. If you're coming to San Francisco, you're gonna meet some gentle people there. What's up, Patreon? The way I was replaying that song like it was a single for me was the way that song felt like a single for me. Happy Sunday. I'm so happy to spend this time with you. I'm so happy that you guys are investing in this moment and investing in more fun, more learning, more entertainment, more Black art, more Black film. To do this on this incredible Sunday indoors when it's feeling like that outside. So I understand if people gonna get on rewatch. I understand because the weather outside right now is delightful, not frightful. It's doing it. I'm your host, JustLatasha, and look at my people in the room. Shout out to Sarai with the first comment on in, talking about she watching it right now. Since you got the most fresh memory, we're gonna be asking you, Sarai. That's what we're gonna do. Shout out to Cleve, A Barty. What's up, L? Hey, Christine. I see y'all here. What's up, Iana? I'm excited. Let me tell you guys something. I slept on this movie so hard. Shout out to the Wash Day Plats. You guys know what it is. Y'all see me on this Sunday doing it all the time. I slept on this movie so hard. Because you know why? We were in an influx of like the Black struggle movies, and I ain't know if niggas was going to jail. I ain't know if we was fighting the system. Like I'm good on it, how hard it is for the Black men down in San Francisco. I judged. I assumed. And we know what happens when you assume. You make an ass out of you and me. So that's on me. And some random night this past week, I was like, let me hit play because we know I stand Mr. Jonathan Majors by this point. Whatever he's in, drown me in it. Rain on me. And this film absolutely blew me away, from the cinematography to just the love and tenderness that they put on Black people through film. Speaking to high themes, speaking to love. You guys know I could talk about love all day. This is a love room. It was gentle. And I think in the examination of Black people on film, it's missing that. A lot of films are missing that, being soft with Blackness, right? So when I saw this, and it was just this visual love letter on what hurts from the past, the struggle to break away from it in the present, and just trying to get to a good future. When the movie did that, I said, now, okay, you gave me something to work with. Let's dissect. Let's do it. And it was complex. It was complex storytelling. I like my brain to work. I like to be challenged. Don't get me wrong. I like trash too. Trust me, I'd be down on the trash. I think I just watched what do they call it? Not a montage, but when they blend all the videos together. I watched like a montage or a full breakdown of like Black Ink, like the early days of Black Ink. Trash, and it was good. So don't get me twisted when I say I like my brain to be worked out when I watch TV or film, because I have more than enough room for the trash as well. But I like this. Let's see what y'all already going off on in the chat. Christine's, I watched it last night, and I have to be honest, kind of struggle with it. A says it did give me that vibe. What's up, Khaled? Welcome to the room. This movie was beauty. It sure was. And beauty was the name. I'm hoping. Cisco went there, okay? Did I tell y'all I used to be a Cisco #1 fan? Do y'all know that about me? Did I tell you that I have a VHS of me hugging him by the curation of BET because I sent them a letter that I was his #1 fan and they gave me a 106 in Park ticket? I know 14-year-old me is hugging on Cisco on 106 in Park. And that's a true story. as a true story. It was the era where he was beefing with Usher to promote his second album. And as his number one fan, I sat in the audience and I said, that was a big mistake. I remember the day I was looking at that man on stage with a half afro and half braids, and I said, he's making a big mistake trying to make beef for Usher. I wasn't wrong. A Barcy says, I've been on a quest to watch everything with Mr. Majors in it. Uh, is it just me or is your screen locked? My screen? What Christine says, I like the ease of friendship, the intimacy between straight men was refreshing. We love that. We love that. Forgive me if my internet is going in and out. Let's see, because should be difficult sometimes. Let me see what I can do. Let me see what I can do about my internet. Whew, the things I do to create. The things I do. Well, I hope y'all have time for me. I hope you guys have set aside some time for me today. I do estimate we will go slightly over an hour because there's so many things to talk about, and I still cut stuff out. So if there's anything you feel that I've missed, please hit me in the chat, and I'll try to stop by and talk about it. Okay? Set aside an hour for me. If you have a little more, let's do it. So here we go, dissecting the last Black man in San Francisco. It's created by director Joe Talbot and his close writer / collaborator, Bales, who plays himself. You have new actors. And I hope I'm on. New talent and new actors. Home his grandfather built in the heart of San Francisco, joined on his quest by his best friend Montgomery. Jimmy searches for belonging in a rapidly changing city that seems to have left them behind. Gentrification. So much so, at times, his hopes blind him to the reality of his situation. And just some clear facts. Starting off with some facts behind this movie, this film is based on Jimmy Fallon's life and his real life friendship with Talbot. And their relationship grew from childhood. And Jimmy says, weird as it sounds, this movie is a love story about me and the house. Talbot spins the tale, expanding it to include sharp commentaries about gentrification, home ownership, toxic masculinity, and how Black men are supposed to navigate friendship. So many themes, and I'm excited to jump in. I think my internet's okay. Here we go. So, in a feature film, and shout out to Christine L. and I think someone else joined us maybe at some point. Gigi. They know this by now because they joined the workshop, the dissection, the workshops. So in a feature film, more times than not, you will have a 3-act structure. This is how you pace your story. This is how you know you got to hit a problem right about here. This is how you know you got to solve it right about here. And this is how every movie that you watch, every feature film that you watch will have a 3-act structure most of the time, right? So we are going to start with Act 1. Act 1 is a setup. You would spend about 20 to 25, 25 was pushing it, you spend about 20 to 25 minutes building the setup. Who are your characters? What is the world? What are the rules of the world? And what problem jumps on in to shove them into a new space, right? So we're in Act 1. We're going to set everything up so we understand what's going on. And here we start with our opening shot with a Black girl, cute and toothless, looking up with optimism and youth and naivete, up at this hazardous coated white man who's shadowed, looking down, wearing this poisonous protective gear. They standing about a foot apart. So what is we missing as Black folks that the white people are hip on? How he coming down to our neighborhood where I'm raising my kids wearing a hazmat suit? So they're in a toxic wasteland, but in this toxic wasteland, Black people have still found a way to find the light, the joy, and the life in a place where white people are trying to clean up. All right? All right. Christine said Montgomery was a ghost. Girl, if you don't, Khaled agrees. He didn't know if Mont was real or not. Not magical Negro teas. Let's not, friends. let's meet another character here. Let's meet our first character, the preacher. They shot him twice. They shot him in two different ways. The first shot we see him, the way we meet him is in dark, the way that the white man was, right? He was kind of shadowed. We had to look up at him. He had this dominant stance over us. He's shot like the hazardous white man, but also still with the plain kind of playing in between those fields, right? And we have no idea listening to him if he's truthful or some kind of crazy conspiracy theorist. Now, I know in New York, we pass a bunch of crazies, but a broken clock be right twice a day. So sometimes he was getting a little 5G Gary Carey Hilson with it, and sometimes he was like, oh, now listen up, because he's right. He's right. Here's where he gets a little right. When he goes into the light and we pull back into that wide shot as this white man is still cleaning up the toxic waste around them. And the preacher said, this water been dirty for 50 years. And now they're cleaning it? Why? Can we say gentrification? Can we say gentrification? Oh, Khaled said he's 5G. Khaled said get the 5G wire out of your face mask. It's government mind control. Hey, Barty, I was with the man on the crate. Why they got on gear and no one else here does? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And why all of a sudden y'all got an interest in cleaning it up now? What's changing? What happened? What they not telling us is what he said. Let's meet our protagonists. Let's meet our lead characters. Contrast to the preacher in front of all that toxic water. They are in front of live greenery, right? It's giving life here. It's giving energy here. And they're staring at this preacher who's standing in front of the toxic wastewater, right? You can have all this hope and joy in this dirty place. Look where they're blocked, the blocking of our characters. How our economy will be framed. Black folk is at the bottom, earning the least, right? And the preacher says something right before we leave this moment where he says, fight for your land, fight for your home. We're going to see just how much this land and this home means to our bullshit about Black masculinity. I love when films say so much without saying a goddamn word. Because really think about maneuvering this. Really think about maneuvering this, right? Here we meet Jimmy Fails in the red shirt, and we have his best friend Montgomery, Mont for short. Y'all might catch me say Montrose by mistake at some point in here. Because my brain was doing it, and now I have to like deliver all the stuff my brain prepared. And these two Black men are physically close, and they share one vehicle, this tiny little skateboard. And usually when men get this physically close, there's all this judgment that comes, right? This very homophobic judgment that comes. Why are you sitting on? I remember when my dad bought his motorcycle, and he was so excited about it, and he wanted to give people in the neighborhood a ride. And there were men in the neighborhood who have never been on a motorcycle and can never buy a motorcycle. So my father, out of the loving kindness of his heart, was giving men rides. And physically having a man, sit on your back, and you have to hold around the waist, and you have to lean on each other to just have this experience. It's like, I can't keep riding you around because it's gonna look. Black men have this optical pressure, right? But they're sharing this space and they're sharing this board. And think about the testament that this means, that they can trust each other this much to maneuver this skateboard together. Being on a skateboard by yourself is hard fucking work. But Jimmy got to rev it up, get down the hill, and Monk got to jump on the back and hold on to him and not shake his friend so much that they both fall and you cause a crash and they lean in on each other. Think about the mechanics of this movement. And these actors that have to physically learn, number one, how to ride a skateboard, and number two, ride a skateboard with somebody else on it. This says so much. Because the way my knees would have been busted up, I would have lost a ring finger or something. Jesus, ain't no way. And they was zooming down these hills together. If I was Jonathan Majors, I would have said, nah, look, how about in all the scenes, I'm gonna run on the side of him? Because I don't know what the hell you're asking me for. How the hell am I gonna get on the back? But that's just me. Jonathan Majors did the damn thing. They were skating together. It was beautiful. But as they're moving through their town from where they live and going inward into San Francisco, into the city, they're traveling through gentrification. And we can start asking some questions. Who has built this city? Who has loved this city? Who has birthed this city? Versus who's coming to clean it up? Right? These men are traveling from the outskirts of San Francisco to get into the city and then towards Fillmore because they're chasing someone. We got to wait to see what they're chasing from. And then we had all this, all the sights these men have seen, getting from one place to another. Let's look at something first, because as they're leaving their own town, they're passing their own community, they're passing their own people. Look how warm it is. Look how communal it is. Look how unified, full of life, joyful it is. The kids are playing, the old folk knowing each other, dapping each other up, right? Versus when they move to Silicon Valley, how it gets like this rigid, cold slate, this bland feeling to it, this disconnect. No one's looking at each other. No one's going in the same direction. It's dry. It's lonely. It's judgmental. How the Black folks get that warm, beautiful golden light, and the white folk get this gentrified ash. It's what we could call it, right? And Mr. Talbot, the director, shot Black folk with so much love. No matter what age, where you're at, how much money you got, what you're doing, if you work, you don't work, if you're mentally ill, he shot Black folk with so much tenderness. Let's give some more love to San Francisco. Jimmy Fails times the architecture. Whew. Woo! Woo! And they said, your eyes is these eyes. Brim of your hat is that hat. When it blow through your clothes, it's like it blows over there, right? Lining Jimmy up with the structure of these homes, the home that he's in love with, the home that he is chasing. Jimmy, the Black man, the life force of San Francisco. So how can new people come on in to what we built and have the nerve to make the space look down on us? How dare you make us feel as if we're at the bottom of the hill when we made this? Look how these homes reflect me, right? These homes become the heartbeat, the identity of the people who have originally inhabited the space. Beautiful. Yes, Khaled, you're absolutely right. Thank you, Christine, for the correction. I was kind of questioning myself as I said. I was like, is that Silicon Valley? Christine says they weren't in Silicon Valley. That's a ways from San Francisco. Christine said, when they was going down that hill so fast, or maybe Fails was by himself in that shot. I can't remember. I was nervous. Let's just call a thing a thing. Gentrification takes violence and nothing else. Gentrification, it needs violence, it breeds violence to displace a people, to incentivize, to encourage homelessness, carelessness due to economic disparities. Gentrification takes violence and it takes racism, and racism is violent, right? This part is actually from a little bit down the ways, but I wanted to introduce it early because we need to understand the weight of gentrification, and this is the theme of this story. This was an accidental fire that displaced 100 Black tenants who were paying rent. They had a rent controlled building. So in this wave of gentrification, and trying to um, uh, raise the economic rate, they're accidentally shoving people out with these intentional arsons, right? And very blatantly in your face, you have a construction worker smoking a cigar while this home is burned down. The city is on fire. So let's meet the love of Jimmy's life. Let's meet the love of Jimmy's life, his childhood home, right? The real star of this film is this single piece of architecture to be coveted. And this home lives in the gentrified Fillmore district. This is where they traveling on a skateboard trying to get to. And you could just tell the barriers from what he wants to how he can't have it, the barriers that are created, right? You can see them the first introduced to this beautiful home behind bars, again, sitting at the bottom, right? We're playing with levels just to show the economic differences between the winning white folk and the Black folk. You have to look up at this big old house. Look how all these plants are just alive and fresh and watered and thriving. So we can start asking some questions here. Who are the real trespassers? Jimmy trying to come on in and take care of this house, or the white folk that just, because you got money, you get to have it? And Jimmy visits the house every 2 weeks to upkeep the grounds. And he mentions something. He says the people are killing this house. Now, we just saw a string of visuals of how Jimmy is the house. The house equals the people. So how can the settlers, how can the colonizers, how can the gentrifiers kill the people? And essentially for Jimmy, saving this house, loving this house, is to save and to love himself. This is how much this house means. This is how much this house means. A. Barty says, I would have let him keep the house up and was doing it for free. Go ahead. The way I would have walked past Jimmy, that's cute. Let me know when you're done. I ain't fighting with this kid doing my housework for free. Come on, Barty. So let's meet the house owners. And now I'm going to jump in the chat, knowing what we know and knowing what y'all know, because y'all been with me for a minute. Let's meet the owners. Both Jimmy and the owner match the house. Let's dissect. What are we pulling from that when they're both in this red and gold? They both match the house. What are we saying? Christine said she would have gave Jimmy more work. Come on, y'all, I got more work for you. Come pull these weeds, water this lawn, mow this grass. Jimmy, right? Come on back here, let me show you something. Wrap my hose up when you're done. Let's talk about why Jimmy and the homeowner match colors. What are we talking about? What do we talk about? Jimmy would have been welcome around here. Jimmy would have been welcome around here. If we're going to San Francisco. That's how y'all get down in San Fran. Christine guesses that Jimmy and the house were supposed to be together, but the owner matches as well. So where's she supposed to be? Khaled says it's both their homes. How we feeling, y'all? How we feeling? It just comes down to whose name is on the bills. That's how y'all feel. TJ says both having just as much stake in the home. Christine says the house is Jimmy's love. I'm gonna go with y'all on that. Physically, the house belongs to this lovely white woman, but emotionally and historically, that's Jimmy's house. It's both our house, but in different ways. So you can go sign whatever bill in mail or whatever and put on the power in your name if you want. But what had happened was, this my house. Christine says, Karen is in red because she's in danger. Okay, all right, Christine. Let's meet these guys, the Greek chorus. Let's dive into further our conversation regarding Black masculinity. Let's do it, right? Now, we examine Jimmy and Mont's relationship, and they're vastly different than that of the Greek chorus. And every time Jimmy and Mont pull up on that bowl or whatever weird shit they on this week, these dudes tease and roast and get at them because what are they doing, right? And we see the amount of men in Greek chorus completely outnumbers than that of a Jimmy and Mont. And I think that was very intentional. I believe this Greek chorus represents the societal expectation of Black men. This is what most of y'all are supposed to be acting like. And when the few of y'all get a little different, we got to question that. What's up with them over there? That's weird. What is that, right? The Greek chorus, as many men who have bought into the societal expectation of masculinity, they refer to Mont and Jimmy as gay. When really what we've seen was softness, trust, close spaces. And we have to look at the way these men show love to each other with this aggressive dap and pushing each other and roasting each other and embarrassing each other. See, that's love for them. Now, what I really love about this is, again, the writer and director treated every aspect of Black people and Blackness with love, without judgment. And I think a lot of Black filmmakers get lost right about there. When we say this kind of Black is good and this kind of Black is bad, we don't like that. We don't need it, right? Of course, there's some things that we got to clean up, but everybody got to clean up. Look at all the plant life behind them. Look how the light shines on them. Look at the warm gold tone on them. Because there's life here too. And even if we don't understand the way they show each other love, or we don't agree with the way they show each other love, they're valid. And we're going to come back to that because the character y'all think is a ghost teaches us that along the way as well. So let's look at Jimmy Montgomery and Granddad, played by the iconic, the legendary, the Black Hollywood elite, Danny Glover. We have to remember that these homes, this architecture is also very much a character. The way that we're in a separate space looking in on them. It feels like the house is cradling them, like the house got them, the house is watching them. These are mine. House hugs them back. And it's meant to feel as if we're meant to be observing them. They feel almost like a portrait, right? So let's look at them. Mont has a family and a home, and he wants for nothing. He's cool. Mont is chilling, right? He's got a little weird way of thinking, and we're not quite sure what he owns yet, but he's cool. He don't want nothing. Jimmy is disconnected from the two because we haven't seen him with family. He can't quite relate to this familial bond, right? again, playing with these levels. Jimmy is down here because to look up to that, I wish I had that. I don't have a home. I don't have a family. Yes, this is something for him to look up to, for him to aspire to have. He sits on the floor, disconnected. Look at the blocking again with these characters. How Mont and Grandpa Albert align with the home, and Jimmy's in front of this void. So subtle, but so heavy. He's in front of that open door and a dark void. Not really belonging or relating. So let's dive deeper into Mont, who's a very real person, by the way, y'all. He's a very real person, by the way. And all he did was sketch life as it is and put a curtain right in front of it. He told the whole story. Not only is life a stage, your stories are valid, but they're worthy of elevation. Don't hide that ghetto. Don't hide the homeless. Don't hide the mentally ill. Don't hide none of the weird shit. No, that's what makes it great. We saw a lot of weird shit in this movie. And because the writers and directors elevated it, instead of trying to hide it and clean up San Francisco to tell a story, put it in. It's worthy and it's valid. This is Montgomery. And we could see him on this dock of the bay, prepping to reenact life as it is for a play that he's working on. So now that we have a much more obvious introduction to a new color, diving into the chat, talking to y'all, what do we think that's yellow and gold merged together? What do we think the yellow and gold means? How do we feel about this yellow popping up? Yeah, I didn't like Mont's room. Christine said, oh, he's real. They can see him. How did y'all get that? It's so funny. How did y'all get that? He was a ghost. Y'all had claustrophobia from Mont's room. It was tiny. Maybe L, who says, I thought Mont may be autistic. He might be. I don't have the language or the knowledge to throw some of those out. But he might be. Khaled said, I love Mont and Jonathan's portrayal of him, especially with him trying to learn how to socialize from the chorus. Cleve guesses that yellow means uncertainty. What do we feel yellow means? Because this color was very, very prominent in this film. And it was used very intentionally in certain places. Want to remind y'all that ain't no wrong answers. We gonna do what it do, baby. Khaled guesses that the red curtains give me danger, toxicity surrounding the area, and the yellow could be a symbol of new beginnings. Ooh, which is a hint at the end of the film. CJ guesses Montgomery has Asperger's. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what's up with Mont. I can't call it. I like that. I didn't put a definition on yellow because it appeared in such different spaces for Jimmy. Sometimes it was a salvation, sometimes it was an attack, sometimes it was like something old but familiar. Cleve says it was lacking confidence in his story. Christine says positivity in the midst of toxicity. Let's keep it open. Let's keep it open. But we see how we have a red curtain. We see how Mont is wearing a red jacket, and we do see a yellow boat, right? Let's just keep it all. Let's keep it all open. Because then it brought me here. And so I was like, now let me think. Let me think. If red are wounds and danger, then why would Montgomery have a red curtain with a red coat? And then if yellow is safety, he uses a yellow mallet to bash a toxic fish, to murder this toxic fish. I feel like it's a conversation of good and bad, highs and lows. Nobody's hands are clean. Because as much as we love Jimmy and we on his side and we're anti-gentrifiers, he's trespassing in somebody's house over and over and over again. She's asked him to stop a million times. She goes out, buys lovely croissants, and she chucks him at his head because, boy, get off my porch. You're on my bird fountain. Like, I paid money for that, bro. Like, what's up? What's up with it? What's up with it? Callie says Mon is consuming his toxic surroundings, Red, in order to tell the story. Elle says maybe Red was the danger in telling the story, and Yellow was the possibility of salvation through the story. We're going to stop right there. That was fucking delicious. I like it. I like it. That was delicious. We're going to stop right there. Thank you. Let's get back to this Greek chorus. Now, again, in one of the many ways that we see in Black culture, the roast, where you just pick your mans and you pick your boy and you go ham on them, right? You go ham on them. They are roasting their boy Kofi, right? And it sounds rude to me, but this is a love language. You don't just roast some stranger. You roast your boy. You roast your homie, right? I roast the people I love all the time. I actually flirt by roasting. It doesn't work well for me, but somehow I have not found a new pattern. And so if I meet somebody attractive, I'm like, yo, that's what you doing. That's what it is. And they like, oh, my feelings are hurt. I'm like, my bad, I didn't mean to make you feel like that. That's why I'm single. But if home is also a character, if the architecture is also a character and it represents the emotional state of these people, what does it say that this Greek has no home? We never see them in a house. They are their home. The block is their home. Having each other is their home. Right? That's what it is. We outside. My block. And we're going to talk more about that later. I want to look at Mont in the mirror. Almost called him Montrose. I felt it on the tip of my tongue. Almost said it. And really what we've been feeling in the chat is that we don't know who he is. Right? We don't know what his deal is. He's this unspoken and misunderstood genius. We know something's cooking up there and it's exceptional. But translating it goes amiss. Right? We also know Amir is a split identity, but because he's working on a play, you have Mont and you have the character he's trying to be. And here he is rehearsing, trying to be this character. His mirror framed by the greatest of writers, greatest of thinkers, greatest of actors. And he rehearses morphing into the characters of life. I want to put a pin in this because it will come back. It will come back. Let's meet Bobby. Let's meet Bobby, played by the incredible Mike Epps, the Kevin Hart, Kevin Hart enemy. And Bobby has occupied, gentrified, and rode off into the sunset with Jimmy's dad's car, where Jimmy and his father used to live in. They used to live in this car. And what color is this car? Yellow. But like that house that Jimmy wants so bad, this car has been occupied by a new owner, right? And it's so interesting. This car has the same trimmings as the Victorian house that Jimmy is chasing, right? The little gold twinkle lights look like the gold trimmings that Jimmy was painting. The red rosary is looking like the red framing on the windows. This is Bobby's home. And Bobby is joyful. He loves this thing. This is Bobby's home, and this is great, right? But this car is so much heavier for Jimmy. It's the nightmare that he's essentially running from. He's trying so hard to forget because he's chasing the dream of that Victorian house. Let's just call a thing a thing. Jimmy is in delusion. It's giving delusion. It's giving delusion. Baby, I'm on your side. I fight with you. I fight for you. I ride with you, but you're not giving me the bee's knees based in reality. Jimmy? Some themes we can start thinking about. Is there a thin line between gentrification and theft? Bobby? Why is it cool if you go ahead and steal it, but we gonna be mad at these white folks for stealing it? This white woman took my daddy's house, but you took my daddy's car. What's the thin line there? What's the conversation there? And you ask Bobby, he steal that car. He just borrowed it for a minute, for a few years. Okay. And best believe I'm gonna tell you something, Jimmy. We don't own shit. We have to think about why we're fighting for the things that we're fighting for. Why are we fighting? Why are we fighting? What are we fighting for? What are we fighting to have? Do we own it? L, he sure did steal the car, but he's not going to admit that he stole the car. He's still borrowing it. Oh, I like that observation, Cleve, who says, I loved how Mont was trying on different characters in the back. He's Mont just finding clothes and, and getting dressed, eating whatever he found in the back seat. Let's dissect. I'm coming to y'all. I'm jumping in this chat. Let's dissect. All right, let's do it. Let us dissect. Let's look at the colors. Let's look at where the characters are stationed, right? What do we read from meeting this real estate agent? Good actor, great actor too, by the way. I don't know his name, but he was in American Horror Story. What do we dissect from this? Finn Whitrock. Thank you, Christine. I like him as an actor. I like watching him do his thing. Callie hit the nail on the head. That green light says capitalism all the way. Money, 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 green, y'all. Money, 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 green, y'all. What else y'all say? What else do we say? We can see them. They split. Jimmy and this dude split half and half. Split between the office and outside. This real estate agent and Jimmy. Right? Like that. It's giving jail for you, Khaled. So look at all the lines on the walls. Look at all the bars. He says it looks like they're in the cage. Woo! Woo! The economic cage. Who is going to win, and who's slated to win? Because here's the thing. Khaled said cage, and I like that, and I hadn't thought about that. They're both from the same place. And one is asking, and one is taking, conquering, greed, feeding, right? We kind of look at Jimmy and Mom with like this neutral gaze. We're on the same level as them. But when we look at this real estate agent, he kind of gets a little larger than us. I don't like that. Okay? Gets a little larger than us, right? One of us in this space has power. One of us can use this cage to our advantage, and one of us is going to lose. One of us is going to lose. And Jimmy comes here just to inquire if the house is for sale because the owner is moving out and we want to know what's up. And the mama died and the sister's mad, right? Here's the gag. And that brings us back to the homeowner and Jimmy matching that house. The home ran in the family for both Jimmy and this white woman. However, the white woman gets to keep it as an estate when her mom dies. It's giving like we're talking ownership, right? She gets to keep it as an estate. Well, hold on. My granddaddy had the house and he died. Okay, so now y'all gotta go. Oh, oh. Jimmy and his daddy had to go. Y'all don't get the house no more. Imagine a place that you built with your bare hands. Well, you can't keep it. They fighting over. That's what ladies fighting over keeping it. Jimmy's fighting to get it back. Disadvantages of bloodlines. We have the same thing via bloodline. Man. Okay. I thought this shot was real cool. Well, the white lady goes out and Jimmy busts on in. He sure did, which brings us into Act 2 of our 3-act structure in a feature film, The Climb. And this is where a new situation occurs, changing the situation and the world as usual for your lead characters, thrusting them into a new experience. And what was that? Well, the owners moved out. Jimmy bust in. So our new experience is actually occupying the house. This is what he wanted. And all is well in the world. Act 2, Part 1, all goes well. But as soon as he enters the house, something happens and he gets an injury. Little girl shining in the sunlight, smiling up at the white man in a hazmat suit, living in gleeful, naive joy in a toxic wasteland. As soon as Jimmy enters the house, he gets an injury, living in a delusion of joy, right? And the only way he can even access this space is by death in the owner's family. That's what it costs for you to even get here. It's giving delusion. Let's lean into it. We meet a lovely tour group who runs down some facts about this house that Jimmy wants so bad. Mr. King of the Castle. The home was a part of San Francisco that was previously dubbed the Harlem of the West. And this tour expert says that it was built in the 1800s, which was followed by the Japanese camps under FDR. And then after the Japanese people went to camps, Black people came in. And Jimmy says his grandfather built this home by hand in the 1940s. Jumping into the chat, did y'all believe that? Did y'all believe that? Because I'm going to tell you, for me, because I love Jimmy so much, I was like, yeah, he built it. Yeah, tell them tourist people that they don't know what they talking about. Yeah, Jimmy, because I love him. Like he's a Black man. He's a lead of this story, and he's gentle and cute and soft and skateboards. I was like, I'm on Jimmy's side. So I was like, I believe you. Christine said, I believed it at first, and then I thought about it. I was like, I Let me tell you something. As soon as he got in that house and his mouth started bleeding, it's a wound in that story. It's a wound in his mouth. It's a wound in his mouth because this story is built on a lie. Elle said that seemed a little bit far-fetched. One man building that style and that intricacy by himself, by hand. I don't know. And like we've said many a times, physical injuries on a character represent emotional ones, right? As soon as he acquired his dream house, he received an injury. Something's wrong in here. Let's go back to our dudes outside our Greek chorus. Kofi is getting slammed right now because he didn't enact violence with the others in a previous event, and they're holding him accountable. And not just holding him accountable, but holding their leader accountable for not getting violent with Kofi to teach him a lesson about not being violent earlier. Two men being pressured to be this thing they don't even want to be to themselves or to each other by the peanut gallery. Oh, and I love this. Mont comes shuffling over and says, "You okay? You okay?" Oh, validating Kofi. The reason why he's even here is because he needs to be seen and validated. And we're going to get there. We're going to get there. But you okay? Oh, oh. On the way to see his father, Jimmy leaves his identity behind, changing one wound for the other. He don't go out without that red, do he? Puts his uniform down, puts his skateboard down to come meet this man. Let's meet his dad. Look at all the light that leaves. Woof. Look at all the light that leaves. Jimmy's father giving him a crash course in reality, ruining his dream world. You got what house? Where? We don't even talk about that. What are you talking about? Boy, you crazy? Jimmy's sitting in the light next to the window that points to this gentrified world where he wants to belong. He's fighting for a space out there, right? Versus his father in the dark, fully immersed in the truth of the past and present. Look, I'm a recovered crack addict and I'm selling bootleg movies. Cut my edges right. Jimmy don't want to be here. Who is this person that Jimmy even presents to this man, right? And he's trying to tell his father the story. I got the house. I'm going to put the bills in my name. You know, I got the house. Trying to convince his father to come with him in this delusion. And it doesn't work. So I'm going to ask y'all for y'all to discuss amongst yourselves who abandoned who. And here's why I asked that. Jimmy won't let the nostalgia of this childhood home go and be present for the father today. Bobby said, go see your dad. He's alone. He's lonely. Go see your dad. Jimmy cannot be present for his father here today. Conversely, his father refuses to take accountability of the past and be present for Jimmy's current and present identity. Your son has to come and lie to you about who he is in order to take up space with you. Who is abandoning who? Sarah said, I just finished the movie. Welcome back. Y'all hold on to that. We have our second injury, right? After his father doesn't let him live in that delusion, he crashes. His lie is rejected. He is injured on his motive safety. So a piece of himself that he relies on every waking moment injures him. His fake identity collides with his authentic self. And then he goes home and beats on the house. Now, wait a minute. He ain't never treated the house like that in his life. He ain't never met that house with aggression. And tonight's the night. Wood flying, things cracking, right? We're having an emotional collision and disturbance. Well, Mont did something very kind. He invited Kofi over, and we're literally looking at these men undressing themselves, being vulnerable, being honest, being transparent, reminiscent about the past. There's no fronting here, right? Kofi even says to Jimmy a few times, I thought she was lying about that. She was lying about that. Look at all these things that were true, right? And Mont confirms the story that Jimmy's grandfather was the first Black man in San Francisco, where Jimmy is currently fighting to stay. Let's talk about the violence of gentrification. Black people can only last in this spot for 3 generations, and then we have to go. Do you know how short that is? Do you know how quick of time that is? He's fighting. You were historically the first Black man in San Francisco, and I'm fighting. I'm about to be the last. This is not about the house. Jimmy is fighting for legacy. What does his bloodline own? What can he have? What can he take with him? This is legacy, identity, existence. And there is a scene that I cut out here where Jimmy offers I was about to call him Montrose. Jimmy offers Mont a room in the home. And right there is where we have our midpoint. The midpoint in all feature films is the direct middle. You can pause any feature film directly in the middle, and something in that story flips everything on its head. And why was it a scene as simple as giving Mont a piece of the home? Here's why. The midpoint is where everything changes, because Act 2, Part 1, everything's going well. This is nice and dandy, this new experience. And then the midpoint beats your ass. When Jimmy gave Mont a room in the home, everything changed. We start to speed up deterioration. Things start to fall apart, right? And this is important because Mont was already settled. He didn't want anything. He just wants to observe life, make a play, and support his friend. But when you give him space in the home, that disturbs something. That disrupted something, right? And that alters everything, shoving us into Act 2, Part 2, The Descend. Things start to fall apart and crumble. Things start to get a little messy. This is the first time Mont and Grandpa Albert were shot in different frames. And even though they're sharing this very small, tight, clustered space, look how far apart they are. And for the first time, Mont is also not including his granddad in the planning of the play. Don't you want to go over characters? Don't you want to go over lines? We always do that. We always do that together. And Mont says, no, I'm good. I'm by myself, causing a deterioration in this relationship between Mont and his granddad, Albert. The hell? Where the hell you going? Because now you got a room in some house. You ain't going to plan your plays with me no more? Dang. Dang. CJ says, I wonder why Kofi even went to their house with all the shit they talk, but he obviously always wondered if Jimmy was for real. Kofi, for me, feels like it's like when Jay-Z was explaining that he speaks to, or this was over a decade ago, Jay-Z was speaking to young men who wanted to be rappers. They wanted to be just like Jay-Z. And Jay-Z said, why are you rapping about money, bitches, cars, and drug dealing? And they responded, because this is what sells. I'm not allowed to rap about anything else. When I try that, it doesn't work. They don't want it. So to be a rapper, I'm going to have to front this life. The pressure that Black men are under to perform this false idea of masculinity, it's a trap. Kofi was looking for a way out. He wanted space to breathe and just be regular. He's not a fighter. He ain't that hardened. He's not that guy. Not that guy. And Mont validated him and gave him space. You don't have to stand outside. You can come into my home. Oh. Just some questions I'm going to run down for y'all to hold on to. We're going over this hour. I hope y'all have the time. This is the most interesting about Mont. What an interesting character, because even though we don't quite know who he is, he's the most authentic person here. That is so difficult to create. That is such a difficult character to create. And he's constantly prepping to portray other people. Let's discuss identity. Jimmy's identity is in the nostalgia of his grandfather and the house. The Greek's chorus has an imposed identity of masculinity. And so, what about Mont? What does it mean that he is the most authentic while constantly playing other characters? Hold on to that. Hold on to it. And just like CJ said, let me find the comment. And of course, Kofi goes right back to trash talking when he was back with the peanut gallery. Show did roasting Jimmy and Mont. But here's the thing. Kofi didn't just roast, because in a roast, it's supposed to sting just a little bit. There's an art to roasting, right? It's supposed to sting just a little bit. But here, Kofi went for Jimmy's wounds. Your mama a crackhead, your daddy a crackhead, and that house ain't yours. Boy, I will slap you in the teeth. It's the arrogance for me. It's the audacity for me. And Kofi betrays Jimmy and Mont after they've offered him space and validity, because it's the trap of that Black masculinity. To pledge allegiance to the toxic version of masculinity is safer than braving a way out. It's safer to stay in the space where you suffocate, because branching out and being the man you actually are is a much dangerous journey. Dang. Elsa, yeah, we would have had to fight. The deterioration, the descent. We have our first divide between Jimmy and Mont. First divide. Jimmy appears trapped, right? He's in this enclosed space, versus Mont, who is divided by a more open space. And Mont still sees the Greek chorus with love and forgiveness, versus Jimmy, who's hardened and angry at them. They talking shit. What the fuck? They talking shit. Mom was like, well, you was talking shit when I met you. We gonna come back. We gonna come back. Khaled says, yeah, quote unquote, safer. The irony of what happens to him next. A Barty says, it'd be the people with nothing going for them trying to talk about the people trying to get something out of life. And no matter where you go, there you are. Jimmy won the house, but there's still a massive void. And he rests his head on this golden pillow the way his Uncle Bobby rests his head in the golden light, sleeping in that car. Which one is happy and which one ain't? Bobby is not lonely. Bobby is satisfied. Bobby is happy. He has this natural joy. And Jimmy's heart is still void. This heaviness. Oof. Let's continue to descend. Everything has to fall apart. The owner returns. Look at where the plant started versus after all of this and occupying the space, how the plants died. And remember all that judgment Jimmy had? He was like, how come the rails ain't the color? How come these plants dying? They don't upkeep the space. How come? Well, when Jimmy got the house, look what happened to the plants. Literally watching this man, his dreams fall, right? And he's going through all this, trying to this fake the funk, trying to have this house. She got kicked out too, but she's still elevated. She's also losing the house, but she still got more power than he do. She still gotta go, but she's good. What Cleopatra say, I'm good. I'm doing so. gotta go. She's good. All the stuff that Jimmy has to fight for. All the stuff Jimmy has to fight for this house. He's not good. This was triggering for me. What's up, Ellie? Welcome to the room. This was so triggering for me. That emotionally distant mama, physically present but emotionally absent. This was so triggering for me. The two shot in these beautiful separate frames. We as an audience had no idea she was even in the picture. Jimmy barely even knew she was in the picture, and she had been back for 3 months. She had touched down for 3 months and didn't look for him, didn't call him, didn't visit, didn't check in. She just been back. It's like a little white baby banging on the window. So let's look at the dynamics here. Let's look at the dynamics. Mont has a grandfather and a home, but no parents. And Jimmy has parents, but no grandfather or home. Can we see why he's delusional about this? How bad he needs this home to mean something, to validate him existing. This is norm. His mama's damn near a stranger. And he got to watch Mont and his granddaddy have the thing that he don't have. He needs this house. Because if he has this house, then he has himself. He has nowhere to land right now. But it's costing him. Things are being destroyed. Oh, Kala says, even her calling him son felt unnatural. A. Barty says, I knew she wasn't coming to his house. Ooh. A. Barty asks, does he feel like if he has the house, he can rebuild his family? I think he counts them out, I think he counts them out. I think this is solely about him validating himself. Ooh. Something's burning. Something's being ruined and destroyed. We lose a Black man in San Francisco. Kofi is murdered by the violence masculinity demands of him. The world is burning. And we have 2 emotional deaths, right? Jimmy isn't validated by his mother. You doing that thing that just tells me I'm not real again? And the Greek chorus, lose a brother. We have the physical death of the city literally burning from white people forcing their way into displacing Black folk, right? So who's been the antagonist the entire time? Who's been the enemy going against our characters? Why can't they have what they want? Gentrification and violence are the leading cause of Black men not having access to their home or access to life. Our microphone's over here. Or access to life. San Francisco is the love and the desire as well as the antagonists for our men right here. They're going to enrich you and cradle you and craft you and raise you and destroy you at the same time. That's San Francisco. Yikes. Yikes, right? Yikes. Oof. I tell you all the time, anger is a surface level emotion. That's going to come out first before you can admit that you are scared, you are hurt, you are abandoned, you are guilty, you are shameful. You're embarrassed. Anger first, right? Let's talk about, we see what Jimmy's fighting for. Let's talk about what the Greeks are fighting for. They have nothing. So they fight for everything. You fight for your block, that's home. You fight for your respect. You fight for your manhood. How do they go out and seek validation to let themselves know that they exist and that they deserve to be here too? What validates them as men, as Black men? They have to fight for something. So now we can come out of judgment for where the hood niggas at? We can come out of judgment for our hood niggas and give them space to exist. Whether or not we understand or agree, we give them space to exist. Because this city has crafted them to be the men that they are. The racism, the violence of gentrification has crafted them to be the men that they are. Right? Whew, Sarai said, this scene with the men had me shook. Christine says, I'm trying to get out of Oakland and no way will I go live in San Francisco. It's higher than Oakland. Christine be cracking me. Christine be cracking me up. Man. Let's talk about the pre. We know what these mirrors mean, right? There's something that's a mask. There's something that's a split of identity. And at the beginning, when we met the preacher, Jimmy asked a question. He said to Mon, do you think he rehearses it? And Mon said, no, I think it's impromptu. And here he is, before he goes out into his next day, rehearsing his speech. So let's think. Where do we think this preacher's mask is and why? Follow-up questions. Let's think. Is the preacher and are the preacher and the Greek chorus fighting the same battle? And are those battles the same as Jimmy's battle, the fight for existence? What do we think the preacher's mask is and why does he have to wear it? To go stand on that crate and preach at his people. What is this mask doing? What is the preacher's mask? Khaled says, I think he's overcompensating from coming out of prison. He wants to show everyone a changed man. Is the preacher a Virgo? Is he me? I'm going to work hard so I exist and people know that I'm valuable. You're valuable whether or not you're on fucking YouTube or whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But my Virgo brain is always like, if we work harder and we do something bigger, then that means we exist as a person. No, you exist as a person, period. Period. CJ says, posturing as though he has the answers. Because look, a fake intellect will show up loud as hell, won't they? No, no evidence, no research. A fake intellect would just show up, start talking, yapping, won't they? Cleve says, because he might not be heard as an average man. A. Barty agrees. He's fighting to be heard. Christine says, my uncle became a Muslim and was always preaching that righteous stuff. I was like, bro, go get it. Christine, what is wrong with you? Oh. I was like, bro, the damn J-O-B. Sarai says, having to be a preacher in the first place, he had to leave behind his bad self that went to prison for his point to be heard. That's beautiful, y'all. I love it. I love it. What allows the preacher to exist and be validated? What makes him matter to himself again? Getting up on that soapbox and awakening his people as far as he's concerned. Awakening his people. What do all of these characters, all of these men have to do to exist? Let's go fight for the house, y'all. We gotta go fight. Let's go fight. Really interesting shot here. You know, that little capitalist snake real estate and went ahead and bought the house. Jimmy might have accidentally reverse engineered it by letting him know the house was available. By mistake. But as he meets this other investment person, we have a really cool zoom shot where the camera's sort of drifting closer and closer to Jimmy. And Jimmy, as he's asking for this huge amount of money to go ahead and buy this house, which he knows he can't afford. This house is $4 million. The camera shifts from that green lamp over to the red velvet ropes, right? And as he can't afford that, as he can't afford the house, going from that green, his wound expands, heading over to that red, right? And why a red velvet rope? I think white people are, again, literally the gatekeepers. Look at that man put his ad on that gate. White people are the gatekeepers to wealth and luxury. Them VIP ropes, putting your ad on that gate, they create the boundaries of who can access space, right? And Jimmy, without money or whiteness, he will not have the house. We are in full delusion here now. Is this even about the house at this point, right? Fighting for himself. Fighting for himself. Callis says that mural behind Jimmy gives me a false, ironic sense of community. Something about that is destroyed by gentrification. The way he's submerged beneath white folk, he's beneath these white people. The way he sat on at the bottom of that hill, literally like the 99% holding up that 1%. To me, it was given that. It was very much given that. CJ said he even offered to be taken advantage of. Absolutely. Steal me. I'll do anything. Mont going right behind his boy, helping his boy. What up, right? Going back to this realtor. And the realtor admits, and he's super comfortable in the fact that he lies and cheats to sell the house. And this is what they get to do. Anything they goddamn want. I'm going to win regardless. I don't care if the ad is real. I don't care if it's false advertisement. We all do it. We're just playing the game. He's out to get that money. Y'all get to cheat and win. I can't even win by allowing you to enslave me. Steal me. I couldn't even offer myself up for the abuse to win. And y'all just get to lie and cheat. Major truth revealed. Jimmy's granddad, as the back of our brains knew, did not build that house. In 1946, the deed confirms, like the tourist confirmed, it was built in the 1800s. Jimmy and his daddy lost in the 90s. It is what it is, okay? It is what it is. Come on, Jimmy. And here we have our point, right as we descend all the way down from Act 2, Part 2, where all is lost. Your character can't fight no more. It's been a long battle. We got fucked up in the worst way. All is lost. And Jimmy literally burning, destroyed, just like his neighborhood. And he still got a little bit left in. I'm like, Montrose, see, it came out. Montgomery said they're going to give us a week, but they're going to call the cops. The fight is over. It's over, Jimmy. The fight is over. We got to go, right? Jimmy said, you could go. I'm not leaving. I'm the last one left. Whew. I wonder if they're using these green vests in the way that they're using yellow. Like, I'm not sure if they're obviously not the same exact color, but I wonder if in the family. Maybe this neon green from the construction worker is a mix of both capitalism and whatever this yellow is supposed to be. Like, y'all said freedom. Y'all said we don't, because this construction worker is wearing this bright green and the tourist is wearing the bright green. It means something. I haven't figured it out yet, but it means something. I want to look deeper into it. Elle says, I thought he was going to go for the squatters' rights. Look, the real estate agent told him early, don't try the squatters' rights thing with me. Like, it's just going to be bad. Let's just do it nice. Take the week. Let's just do it nice, but y'all got to go. We know this, right? It is what it is. CJ said, Jimmy has never cared about what makes sense. Y'all are rude. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to like keep up with y'all chat, but I got lost. The light is gone from the home. Look, it gave gentrified ash. It gave gentrified dusty, right? It matches the color of gentrification. It's officially back in the possession of capitalistic, violent gentrification, racism, white folk. Put all the labels in it. The light is gone. The light is gone from the home. Real quick, stopping by. Jimmy's father comes to visit Mont's play. The play is going on. They invited everybody from the neighborhood. It's happening. And his dad plays the organ. And he says something that tickled my ear. And I heard it. I heard you say it. My daddy hated when I played that shit. It's giving generational wounds. Same as disapproving of Jimmy's identity and interests. Your daddy didn't like your interests, and you're going to go ahead and do that to your son. So now we can ask, is Jimmy idolizing the idea of his grandfather and not the reality of who that man might have been? Did he even meet his granddaddy? Your father's wearing the ones your granddaddy gave. So what kind of man was he? Why do we idolize him so much? Oh, Mont's so cute, peeking his head out from the back. It's so cute. So let's get into the play because we have to have a big conversation. I thank y'all for sticking out with me for so long. We almost done because this is very complex. We need to have a conversation about this play. And yeah, I know I'm gonna be in the chat. Here we go. First of all, I loved how all the characters just meet random ass other characters and they just kind of, I thought it was improv. It felt very improv. They just making up lines as they go. I love this so much. But Mont portrays Kofi and the leader of the Greek chorus, and he portrays the preacher. And when he morphs into the preacher, he encourages the audience to remember Kofi instead of strangers memorializing him on Instagram. What do we think Mont's play is about? What is the story being told here in Mont's play? Elle says, Mont surprised me. The acting jumped out, didn't it? The acting jumped out. Mont said, I can act. Don't play with me. Look. Man. Cal says, Jonathan V. Major. The acting jumped out. What do we think Mont's story was about? Because throughout this entire time, he couldn't write it. He was sketching and thinking and sketching and thinking and trying things on and portraying characters in his mirror and practicing and just sketching and thinking and trying on the dock on the bay with the boat. But something happened when one day, after he learned the truth of the ownership of the house and the deed, he was able to write. And he wrote everything. Spilled out. CJ says the message was about the many boxes others put us in and that we place ourselves in. Al says the house was amazing. Come on, Sarai. Come on, Christine. Yes, come on, Cleve. What did this play say? We're going to get there, Siege. But Siege, you're right. You hit the nail on the head. You're right. Callie says maybe his play is about the dichotomy, contrast between Kofi and Jimmy, both coming from foster care and from the different paths they took. Elle says he said something about us being more than one thing. Yes, yes, yes. Siege says, be all that you are. Y'all are right. There were lines directly in this play where they were explaining it, where Jimmy does say people aren't one thing. Free yourself from the box. Mont says the world put Kofi in a box. Let us break the boxes. But also, he asked people, how do you remember Kofi? And he mocked all of these Instagram posts. People memorializing Kofi who hadn't seen him in about 20 years. People so y'all getting likes and comments and posting this picture, but y'all even know Kofi. So let's do it in this room because this is the community that Kofi was a part of and that he experienced. What do you remember about Kofi? Maybe you have some bad stuff. Maybe you did some bad stuff. Maybe you need to take accountability. Maybe you ain't know him like that, but let's say it as it is, because what the people on Instagram did to Kofi is what Jimmy is doing to his grandfather. How do you idolize and worship somebody you don't even know, including the bad parts? Do you know somebody if you can only speak positive of their name and somebody you ain't seen in a few years? Jimmy? The world put Kofi in a box, which ended up putting Kofi in a box. Let's break these boxes. Before I move on, Christine says Mont's play was saying to us to be true to who you really are. Sarai says, I think it was inspired by Jimmy to acknowledge the boxes you give yourself to be complex and moving on. Sarai says that's why he exploded at the end. A. Barty says he was telling everyone's story and showing how everyone has more depth to them than they may show. Let's talk about breaking these boxes. The gag is Jimmy's role was to play death. Let's talk about the box Jimmy put himself in. And Mont trying to free him from the confines of what you think your legacy is, what you think this house means, and what you think this house determines your value. Can you free yourself? The gag is we went to 2 funerals. The gag is 2 people have to die. The gag is the only way Kofi saw freedom was in his death. And if Jimmy portrays death, you can symbolize what you need to leave behind to order to access freedom. Can you kill your illusions? Can we lay to rest your illusions, my friend? Whew. And now we've hit our climax. This is the bottom of Act 2, Part 2, the climax where everything comes to a head and we have the biggest boom. Mont memorialized Kofi, then turns to examining Jimmy. You exist beyond these walls. You extend beyond your forefathers. Wanting to set his friend free. Your grandpa didn't build this house. An iconic character. In order for Mont to tell the truth, he must play a character who represents awakening his people. Jimmy fucking fails. Joe Talbot, ladies and gentlemen. Mont couldn't do it himself. He has to morph into a figure that can reflect the truth, the preacher. And in that mirror, his frame was memorializing, idolizing storytellers who reflected the truth, the observation, the optics of society in all of its grit and glamour. Those are the people he looks up to. The philosophers, the poets, the playwrights, who uses their work to create stories of who we are and all of the truth. But it don't work. Jimmy remains in delusion. He said, nah, that ain't true. Him storms out. Now we get to Act 3 of our feature film, The Resolve. We have to start cleaning up all these messes. We got to clean it up. Clean it up. Conversely to the way Jimmy originally engaged his father, now they sit in the light. They sit in the truth. He can see the man his father is. He can see the truth of his heritage. It all comes into the light. Why do we think his father still lied? Why do we think his father still lied? His father can't go with him. Couldn't even say it. Granddaddy did not build this house. What does it mean to dad? Your daddy did not build this house. Why does his father still need the lie? What's the cost to fight to exist in a space you are not welcome? Will you kill yourself to stay in San Francisco? Is it worth your identity? Is it worth your value? Is it worth your sanity and peace? What will you gain to fight for this space more? CJ says his father's a scammer. Cleve said he kept a lie to teach him to dream about possibility. Sarai says his father is okay living in the illusion and maybe the only positive he has left. Man, oof. Elle says that proverbial box helps him stay sane. You know what I like about this? I didn't see not one time nobody in this chat say, where's the black women? So that means y'all understood the movie. Because here, and I didn't see anybody say that about it in general. But this movie had two black women, but it not only is it a love letter to black people in all forms, in all shades, but specifically black men speaking to black men. And I think that is so important. And feel free to omit black women from that space if you need to speak amongst each other. We, black women were in this space to help Jimmy along the way. He had his auntie played by the incredible, the incomparable, the legendary Tashina Arnold. accented in this story. My light's going out, so I'm gonna try to hurry up. And another Black woman who was selling candy, trying to sell 60 bars instead of 16 bars. We hustlers too. So, but this was specifically Black men speaking to Black men, and how beautiful. I'll gladly move out the way if that's what you need. I'll move out the way if that's what you need. Healthy? Yes. Yes. Christine says, if you lie to yourself enough, it becomes the truth to you. And that's what it is. Now, look. Uh-oh. Bitch, you better go to my next slide and stop playing. It's getting fuck San Fran for me. Fuck San Francisco. Auntie said, if you leave, it's not your loss, it's theirs. Fuck San Francisco. What are we fighting for? The city has lost its life, its culture, its specialty in exchange for who and what? Fuck San Francisco. And he loved the city so much that he earned the right to hate it. Unlike these gentrifiers, you don't get to hate it yet because you don't love it. You ain't work for it. You ain't earn it. You ain't give yourself for it. Don't come in here and talk about what you hate when it's changing specifically for you. Though we're supposed to be healing things, Jimmy is still not home. He is still not home. And even though things have changed, he re-healed his relationship with his best friend Mont. He sits on the couch with Granddad and Mont. Granddad says, you're welcome here. I hope I never made you feel like you weren't. You could stay here. But it's still not home. He's still displaced. He's still in front of that void. Even if he on a couch with you, even if we all laughing and cool together, it's still not it. So what is the answer? So what is the answer? Goodbye, San Francisco. Jimmy is free from the box he made. What an incredible damn story. Y'all, we did an hour and a half today. We if you're going to, we gotta turn it into a booty. What's that New Orleans bounce? If you're going to San Francisco, you will meet some gentle people there. Yo, I love that song. The way I'm about to stream it on Spotify. Thank you guys so much for being patrons. Thank you for being here with me to this dissection, this exclusive dissection. I love this film. I love spending time with you guys. You guys are so bright and intelligent and funny in the chat. Y'all be cracking me up. I still want to revisit the film to find more colors in there, but we did what we could today, didn't we? And we did the damn thing. Let's be proud and take joy in that. I'm going to be back on YouTube tomorrow live with you guys for a dissection. I'm really trying to find a series to do, but nothing's quite biting. Somebody said to do the series, which I thought was cool, but it feels dated and old now. I want something that we're collectively watching together, but nothing can be perfect. So we'll see what happens. But let me know if there's any series or movies that you guys would like me to dissect. But I will always. Cal says, Jimmy sailed away. Water equals fresh slate and new beginnings. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for the compliments. Elle says, this was good. You helped me figure out what I was watching in this one. Well, Yes, CJ. Yes. Jimmy took Mont's boat like Bobby took Jimmy's dad's car. And they're the same color. Yes. Absolutely, and broke his board. That was a huge symbol where some old had to die for sure. um I don't know what to say. I love movies and films, and I love talking about it with you guys. It's always, always, always a pleasure. So I will see you guys next time. I'll be back in 2 weeks with another exclusive Patreon dissection. If there's something you guys want me to dissect, send it through Patreon, send it through YouTube, or send it on the social medias. All right. I will see y'all later. Bye.